He was cold and hungry, but otherwise appeared to be okay. Tonight, we are happy to report that a Jasper County teen who was missing for most of the day is now home and safe. We tracked the breaking story all afternoon here at 12 News. An army of law enforcement officers spent hours looking for the boy, but in the end, a tip led to him being found. Our Jordan James live in Evadale tonight with how it all unfolded. Jordan?
Yeah, Jordan, after several hours of searching, 15-year-old John Wayne Richard has returned home safely. The Jasper County Sheriff's Office credits the community for playing an active role in his return. So how did we get here? Let me break it down for you. John was last seen last night with his parents in his room. When they woke up this morning, they discovered he was missing. Earlier today, the teen who has autism was spotted traveling down County Road 873 in Evadale. Jasper County Sheriff notified nearby law enforcement agencies to be on the lookout for him. They spent the afternoon tracking leads and searching for John. As news of his disappearance spread, the community also started looking. The sheriff's office received a tip that John was walking down Highway 1131 just after 6 o'clock tonight. Deputies then were able to locate him and reunite him with his family.
We have a great community in Jasper County, and anytime we come across something like this, we get the news out as quick as we can. It's an important role for everybody to help. It just shows what it does when everybody comes together and takes care of each other.
At this time, deputies are unsure where John was over the last several hours, but they did say he appeared to be very cold and hungry. Back out here live, the Jasper County Sheriff's Office thanks everyone who played a part in John's return. Reporting here live in Evadale, Jordan James, 12 News.
Tomorrow, we'll find out who will get the state's next allocation of COVID vaccines. We know the state will have about 30,000 additional shots to share in the coming days. So far, more than 2 million doses have been administered in Texas. 1.7 million Texans have received their first dose, and more than 370,000 have been fully vaccinated. Now, the department says 1 out of every 13 Texans who's at least 16 years old has been vaccinated, and 1 out of every 6 Texans who's 65 and older has been vaccinated. It's in large part thanks to those mass vaccination hubs. But it looks like new ones won't be opening anytime soon.
In looking forward, the past 3 weeks we have been, the past weeks 5, 6, and 7, we have added hubs. For week 8, because I don't know yet if that is going to be a sustainable increase in vaccine, we won't be adding any hubs. We're going to wait a week to see what the week 9 allocations look like.
Imelda Garcia says the recurring amount of doses will go up from about 330,000 next week to 385,000. That's the boost I was mentioning, but no word yet where the additional shots are going. We expect to get those details tomorrow. A spokesperson for the state says their goal is to even the playing field and bridge the urban and rural divide that we've been telling you about. Now, right at this point, healthcare workers are racing against the clock to vaccinate more Americans as mysterious new variants pop up in more than half the country. Dr. Anthony Fauci reiterated, saying the existing vaccines appear to be effective against the new UK and South African strains of the virus. But work is already underway on booster shots to increase protection from these highly contagious strains.
So right now, we're scrambling, the CDC together with the NIH, to get a more comprehensive interdigitating genomic surveillance system so that we can actually get a handle about what these are.
The South African variant has now been found in 2 people in South Carolina. Neither had traveled and they had no connection to one another. We know a lot of you still have questions about the vaccination process and what's happening around the country. You can simply text the word SHOT to 409-838-1212 and we'll send info right to your phone. By the numbers, no big changes in the fight against COVID-19 as we look at Southeast Texas hospitalizations. Our ICU beds are almost full in Jefferson County, and more than 75% of the ICU patients are there fighting COVID. As you can see over here, though, the regular rooms are in much better shape, the overall patient count much lower, and there are nearly 200 beds available. So here's the big picture. Our climb continues for hospitalizations with a total of 202 COVID patients right now. Analysts do expect our hospital numbers to start falling like they've already seen elsewhere around the state. Now here's a graph showing new cases, and there's some positive news on this front. They have rapidly started to decline. Let's take a closer look here, and you can zoom in and see on the right-hand side of your screen. If you look at that plot, we really turned the corner and started the downward fall around January 17th. We only had 134 new cases in our region on Thursday. Returning now to that storm tracker forecast, already a little chilly out there as we look live at our Roofing 911 Skycam here in Beaumont. Chief Meteorologist Patrick Vaughn is in the Storm Tracker Center tonight monitoring those temperatures. We're staying above freezing?
Yes.
Good.
Yeah, no freezing temperatures expected the next 7 days across southeast Texas. We're seeing patchy high cloudiness stream over the state due to an upper level disturbance. And as you can see, the East Texas Lakes area standing out a little clearer up towards Livingston and San Rayburn. Currently 49 in Beaumont versus 42 in Jasper and 45 in Port Arthur. Everybody else in between. And tomorrow morning, likely to get into the mid-30s in the Lakes area, upper 30s to lower 40s in the Triangle. And this means patchy frost across the area, roughly from Interstate 10 north, with you needing to be careful with those space heaters. Otherwise, we'll start the day off on a frosty note, warming up maybe into the low to mid 60s with lots of sun. More on that forecast shortly on 12 News.
Power City tonight, Governor Greg Abbott promises to protect the state's oil and gas industry from new regulations coming from Washington. Today, he signed an executive order encouraging Texas agencies to use all lawful powers and tools to challenge any federal action that threatens the oil and gas industry. His backdrop here, a roundtable discussion with industry workers, energy leaders, and advocates in West Texas.
Texas is not going to stand idly by and watch the Biden administration kill jobs in Midland, in Odessa, or any other place across the entire region.
Today's executive order harkens back to the governor's time as Texas Attorney General. While he was AG, Abbott filed 31 lawsuits against the Obama administration and the EPA. New info tonight, big news from General Motors. The company plans to end production on all diesel and gasoline-powered cars, trucks, and SUVs by 2035, going entirely electric. Now, the company is shifting to making its entire fleet electric, part of a broader plan to become carbon neutral by 2040. GM plans to use 100% renewable energy to power its U.S. facilities by 2030 and its global facilities by 2035. That's 5 years ahead of schedule. In case you missed it, today marks 35 years since the Challenger shuttle explosion. A moment of silence was held at the Kennedy Space Center this morning as they remembered the 7 crew members who died. Among them, teacher Krista McAuliffe, who was the first U.S. civilian to lift off. The spaceship exploded shortly after liftoff when a critical O-ring seal failed. Tonight, we're hearing tributes for iconic actress Cicely Tyson. She was among the first black performers to achieve stardom in significant roles, her career spanning 7 decades. Her credits include more than 100 movies, television shows, and plays. Tyson earned 3 Emmys, an honorary Oscar, and just last year, a Career Peabody Award. She was 96. Port Arthur police want help finding an accused car thief. Cameras caught him in action, jumping out of an SUV and jumping into a running car. He took off in that stolen vehicle from a gas station a week ago today. Police are reminding everybody, never leave your car running or unattended anywhere. If you recognize the man seen here, call Crime Stoppers at 833-TIPS. A mother in Orange may be looking for a lawyer tonight. Police say that she drove drunk and crashed her SUV while her baby was in the back seat. Orange police say somebody called 911 after the SUV crashed into a fence on West Dewey Avenue near 3rd Street last night. Officials say the driver, Katie Malasson, failed a sobriety test. She had a blood alcohol level of 0.15. Officers found the 1-year-old child in the back seat. Now to a crime alert tonight. Detectives from several Southeast Texas agencies have teamed up to try to take down organized crime. They think several suspects are tied to a bunch of recent armed robberies. Here are 3 of those arrested already for aggravated robbery. Beaumont police believe that the recent robberies in Chambers, Jefferson, and Orange counties are connected. At least 2 of the suspects are teenagers, too young for us to show their photos. This is a trend that worries police.
We want them to get an education and to get a job and to work hard for the things that they want and not to arbitrarily just go and take what they want and use a firearm.
Officer Haley Morrow encourages anyone with info on the recent robberies to call Crime Stoppers at 833-TIPS.